Hello, angels. It's Miss Quiet Queen, and welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone had a blessed, wonderful holiday season. Um, I'm not going to go into my holiday right now, but I'm here. I will say that I'm here. Despite the fact that what's been going on in our world and close to home, I'm hanging in there. I'm still relatively happy, and I still choose to operate on a higher level so that I can continue to um, make the shift and be a part of the DNA coding. I do want to say this before I talk about the topic, and that is I feel the need to start another channel. Not that I will get rid of this one. I won't do that because many of you, I tried to do that. Many of you objected, so I'm back. But there's so many other things that need to be discussed, and I don't want to do what I see some YouTubers do and change the content of their channel. You got it built up, and people are watching to see those specific videos. But there are other things that need to discuss. I am so sick. Y'all, if I see another brother get killed by a police officer, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm so freaking tired of it. Okay? Enough is a freaking enough. And what's going to have to happen? And some of y'all may not like this, but think on this. It's going to take white people to do it. You know? I've been crying all day because of this. It's going to take whites to really say, okay, you know what? That's a freaking enough. Because my husband's best friend is a white guy, and he says racism doesn't exist anymore. He literally looked me in my face and said, it doesn't exist. He never sees it. Well, no, you don't see it because you're a white man with a big-ass house sitting on 15 acres of land and lots of money in your account with good credit and a college education. No, you're not going to see it, you know? But my son sees it all the time. He's always racially profiled, always pulled over for no reason. And so am I when I go in somewhere. I'm really getting sick and tired of racism and other injustices, not if that's a word. You know, people being hurt, children being abused, women being raped, domestic violence. I did a video on domestic violence, and do y'all know it was over a month ago, and I don't even have 500 views yet. What's wrong with that picture? It's not, I was going to say it's not that people don't care, but yeah, it is. Some people just don't want to get involved. You say you care, but you don't want to get involved. I have a friend who I talk to on a regular basis, and the only reason why I'm bringing up race is because we talk about race, she and I. She's white, and she talks to me about white guilt, and she's so supportive and gets angry and calls me, hey, Queen, did you see what happened? Did you hear about this? That makes me so sick. Okay. I respect her so much, and if I can give her a hug from a distance, I would. But talking is only part of the solution or part of helping. Go march. Did you go march in your town? There was a lot of protests all over the country recently. Were you a part of any of that? So people, okay, I'm trying not to get off into that subject. So anyway, that's my whole reason for wanting to do another channel, because I have a whole lot of shit I need to say about people being treated unjustly. You know, when you see other race of people speaking up on injustice done to blacks, come on now. It is not the right race. Sorry, no disrespect, and I'm happy for that, but white folks are going to have to end the racism. We can march on Washington. We can have petitions. You know, we can boycott. I don't mean a damn thing. They're gonna still do it. It don't mean anything. But if their own people were to do it, I think that says a lot more. You know, what would you do if it was your son, or if it was a member of white boys between the ages of 12 and 25 that's always being shot up? What would y'all do? Do you know how painful that is for a people? This is so painful, and this is why I know, and I guess this is a perfect segue to the topic of my video. This is why I know that this is my calling, being a spiritualist. The name of this video is called, How Do You Know You Are Evolving Spiritually? And if you're not, what can you do? The first thing you need to recognize to know that you are evolving spiritually is just what you're doing right now. You're on YouTube and you're scouting around spiritual videos. That's the first thing. You, right now, if you go into yourself and recognize your feelings, you will start to realize that something ain't right spiritually. I need to learn more. I'm hungry for knowledge. Do you constantly hear yourself saying that? Other ways of the knowing that you're evolving spiritually is, do you ask questions to your pastor, to your bishop, to your friends and families, and all they say to you is, I don't know, or even worse, don't question it? Don't accept that answer. No one has the right to tell you don't question it. I think that a lot of times they say that because they don't have the answer and they're confused themselves. So it's easier to brush it off and say, oh no, blame back on God. Because you know they always say in the church, give your problems to God. Put it in God's hands. You know, so they put it back on God. Well, no, God don't want you to question him. And what about that answer? Put it in God's hands. I'm going to tell y'all something. When I was going to church, I never did like to hear that statement. I never liked to hear that statement. And I talked to my pastor's wife and I said, I just feel so guilty doing that. She said, you don't have to feel guilty. You're supposed to give your problems to God. Put it in God's hands. But then that's hypocritical because we are supposed to evolve. If you believe in the divine spirituality and the divine spirit of things and how things work, you then understand that you created your cosmic signature. I'm always talking about your cosmic signature. You created it and you agreed to be a part of certain situations and to do certain things. How can you do that is every time you are faced with an obstacle, you give it to God. Oh, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to give it to God. Put it in God's hands. Let God do it. So what you're actually doing is you are leaving your problems to fate. It's not necessarily that God is taking care of it. God gave you the free will. So you need to figure out what you need to do. I never believed in that. Put it in God's hands. I'm not saying don't pray to God. Absolutely pray. It's imperative. But I'm not going to say, here, God, here's my problem. My rent is due. I don't know how to pay it. I'm really, really sick. I don't want to have this problem. My husband hit me. I don't want to have this problem. So I'm giving it to you. You need to work it out. You need to figure out what you need to do to make your life easier for you. All of us come from God. All of us come from that source. I personally believe that we are here because being a part of God, God wanted to experience certain things. You know, we are all a part of that one soul. And so that's why so many pieces of God's soul, which is us, are here to learn certain things. How are you going to put it in his hand and he sent you down here for you to learn it yourself? All right? That's really important. Another way to understand that you are evolving is there's this sense of euphoric feeling that you feel when you think of things that you have never thought of spiritually before, like understanding that there are other human beings that exist in our galaxy, like understanding that there is a real world inside of you, understanding that there is a such thing of astral traveling and other dimensions and other levels, parallel universes, understanding that all people are the same. All of us humans here are alike. We have differences, but we are alike. We have many common denominators. Another way is when you have a whole bunch of questions. Like I said before, you have questions that are not answered, and you need to get them answered. And the way to get those questions answered that you have had for so many years is you're going to have to go into yourself. There's no other way to get around it. I've had somebody call me recently asking me about certain books to read, how to use sage oil, how to use crystals and different things to protect yourself. These things are made from God. So God gave us the resources. We have the resources. It's just in a matter of using them. Now, I don't like when people call me or email me and say, Queen, give me a good book to read. What books should I read? Because I get really paranoid because that's my downfall. I don't trust anybody. So anybody that writes me, automatically, I just want you guys to know so you can understand me a little bit more. Anybody that emails me or calls me, automatically, I don't trust. You got to do a lot to make me trust you so that I can understand that I trust. And that's not always a good thing. You have to learn to trust people. I get extremely paranoid because I'm always thinking somebody is out there trying to get me. I know people are following me because I see them. I see them when they take pictures of me and then they leave. I see them when they're in my rear view mirror. I know I'm not making this up. I see them write stuff down. So I'm like, and I hear my phone being tapped, and then I know that sometimes I give my number to people who I may not really want to trust, but then again, I go ahead and do it because sometimes you got to keep your enemies closer. So it's really hard for me to trust. So when someone asks me, can you tell me, what do you do? What do you use? How do I do that? Give me a counter spell. I've done that twice and I really didn't like it. I wish I hadn't done that, but it's like, why are you asking me this? Nobody gave this information to me. My best advice to you is to research yourself. And that's what I told people. Now, I am going to be doing another book haul. I think, maybe that would be a nice thing. I don't really like doing book hauls, but we're running out of time. We're already living on borrowed time. And you may need to find out what books to read. The important thing that I think you should do right now is learn about the Merkaba, learn about how to travel in the light body, learn and research and understand about this shift and how we are shifting. And I do apologize, and I'm really not talking about everything that I said I was going to talk about. How to tell if you're evolving. But if you do all of these things, you can tell that you are evolving. But you need to get these books. And I'm not ready to do the haul right now. I'm prepared for that. I'm prepared for to do a few videos. But basically that's it. I wanted to tell you, the way you can tell that you are evolving is all of the questions that you had and what's in your heart right now. how compassionate you feel. And let me tell you something. When you want to evolve, angels, the best way is through compassion. Compassion is the best way to evolve. Not aggressive compassion, but the compassion that comes from love. You have to learn to understand your dark side. You have to learn to understand your other emotions like anger, fear, and sadness. You need to embrace the darker energies. And I didn't understand it for a long time. And I'm always saying, stay in the light, stay in the light. Now I'm about to sound like a hypocrite because sometimes you have to go to the dark to bring out the light. You have to go through the dark to get through to get to the message that is meant for you on the other side of that darkness. Pain, for the lack of a better word, is what molds you. And the pain is dark, it's rigid, it's cold, it's painful, it's confusing. It's all these things. And all these things I just mentioned are dark energies. And you have to go through it. You have to go through it in order to see the light. So I can say stay in the light all day long, but now it's coming to a point where I have to tell you, angels, and I'll be remiss in my duty as a so-called spiritualist if I do not tell you this. If you stay only in the light and not try to embrace the dark, you're not going to grow. You will not evolve. You have evolved up to this point because you're here now with me. You have questions. You're understanding a little bit more, but you have to have faith in you. You need to meditate and get into yourself and not always go on YouTube and write messages to all these spiritualists out here, myself included, and expect for us to give you the answer A, B, C, D, like that. It's not going to work that way. I wish it was. There's someone that's helping me out spiritually, and I wish that he could just tell me everything. He seems to know a lot about me. I wish he could just tell me, well, why is this? Why is that? Why is this? You have to find out on your own. I'm gonna leave you with this story real quick. What to drive that point home. I always promised my children that I would buy them a car because my father did that for us when we were growing up. When you get your driver's license and you have good grades, I'll give you a car. But my husband didn't understand that. He grew up with a single mom. They were very, very, very poor. I grew up, mom, dad, brother, sister, all living in the same house. We come from a middle class family. So that wasn't nothing for me to want to give my children a car when they get their license, because that's what I did. Because that's what my father did for us. So I did this. My husband, against his better judgment, I took money out of my 401k and went to an auction and bought my son a car because I promised him at a very young age that that's what I would do. And that's what most middle class mentality people do. Not that I was a middle class at the time I bought it, but And so when I did, my son was very happy. He drove it, but when it broke down, he fell out of love with it. He didn't care about that car. It was a good looking car and it drove nice, but he didn't like it anymore. He wanted to get another one. He was angry. It broke down on him. And my husband and I kept telling him, just make it your project. You have a job, fix on it, every paycheck, do something. You can get that car running in tip top shape. You don't have a car note or anything. Did he do that? No. He went out and bought a Dodge Durango, y'all. A big old red truck. First of all, red. the police, they love that color. Then you're a 21-year-old male, you're black, you're driving in the suburbs, because we live in the suburbs, and I don't give a damn what anybody says, how they, if they don't like this or not, they're a bit racist. So you think that's okay? That doesn't make any sense. The moral of my story is, if you don't do it yourself, you won't respect the value of it. You will not respect or honor the privilege of having something if you don't get up and do it yourself. Somebody can give it to you, just like I gave my son that car. He didn't really appreciate it. I'm not saying that you won't appreciate anything that I give you, but it holds more weight. It's more special to you. Your spirit guides will connect to you more because you are doing the channeling, you are doing the researching, you are doing the thinking, you're asking the questions, you're answering the questions. You may, contact one of us to see if you're on the right path or to get our opinion, but don't ever expect any of us to give you the answers for you when you should be doing that for yourself. I cannot give you the answers as to why you're depressed. I cannot give you the answers really as to why you are not hearing your spirit guides. I mean, I can give you suggestions of what I think, but I think a lot of you you want an answer in a bottle. And I don't have that to offer you. All right. So with that in mind, I'm going to make some more videos right now. I'm going to post quite a few because it's been the holidays and, I've been busy. And I got a lot going on. So I'll give y'all something to look at. So in the meantime, think on that. And if you have any questions, there's a lot more I could say on how to evolve. And eventually I will get to it. But it's just that these days lately, I just been so scatterbrained and everything. So, all right. So that's all that I have to say. Thank you so much for watching. Stay in the light, but embrace the dark. Bye.